We're gonna basically got our attendees coming in. So we're gonna give it another minute or two and then we'll kind of get started. I'll go through housekeeping and all that good stuff and let you kind of do your thing and do an intro and we'll do some Q&A. All right.
Sounds good.
Perfect. Okay. So I am Anastasia Simon. I'm with Shadow Ventures. We are a venture capital firm based in Atlanta, Georgia, and our focus is on seed stage technology startups in the built space. So that's architecture, engineering, construction, and real estate. Today we have with us Veronica Jenkins. She is the co-founder of HIVE Talent Acquisition. Veronica has a lengthy history of having been in the workforce and being someone who is doing recruiting and working with hiring managers. So she knows the struggles of trying to find a job in a downturn, but she also understands what you need to be doing to effectively position yourself to be one of the people to win out when it comes to the job search. So Veronica, I'm gonna hand it over to you. You can do a brief intro and then we'll kind of get started.
Thank you, Anastasia. Hello, everyone. My name is Veronica Jenkins. As Anastasia mentioned, I am co-founder of HIVE Talent Acquisition Firm, and I'm also head of global talent. We started HIVE in November 2017 with a new focus on people in human resources. We know that a lot of individuals work with recruiters at various stages within their career, whether they're just exiting college or have had a career for 10 to 15 years. And everyone can pretty much say the same when working with recruiters, that they apply for jobs and kind of get dropped off into a black hole and they never hear from people again on the status of their applications. And my business partner and I decided to start HIVE with an eye for following up with people, giving them a more personalized experience through the application process, and also just coaching them to success within their career search. I am excited to join Shadow Ventures today to discuss job hunting during this very trying time within the pandemic that we're facing today, and look forward to answering some questions and interacting with everyone.
All right, Veronica, thank you so much. So just to kind of get things kicked off, what are some things that job searchers, so people looking for jobs right now, should be looking for? Like, what should they be doing to best position themselves in this current market?
Great question. So the first thing you should do is make sure you have your resume together. Um, my business partner and I coach candidates that are still in college, that are preparing to transition out frequently on this very thing, because you want to make sure that you have several versions of the same resume. I'm by no means telling you to embellish the truth on your resume, but what I'm saying is every job that you apply for is requesting that you exemplify a certain set of skills within your resume when you are submitting your application. So making sure that you take the time to tailor your details on your resume to fit those job requirements when you apply is very important. Try to keep your resume to no more than 2 pages. I know a lot of career services departments will encourage students to only have a 1-page resume, but there are students that have had jobs before and they can't fit all of their experience on 1 page, and it may be very relevant to the job that they're applying for. So making sure that you do have everything listed out in a very concise way, but making sure that the things that you have listed on your resume do apply to the position for which you're applying is very important. And then once you get that resume together, making sure that you have your LinkedIn updated as well to follow the profile and everything that's listed on your resume, so that when recruiters are searching for you on LinkedIn, everything that's listed on your resume aligns perfectly with your LinkedIn profile. That's very important. So those are the first 2 things that we tell job seekers to do, no matter when they're searching for work. And then the third thing is making sure that you have active links on your resume when you're emailing it out to people, and not emailing your resume as a document, but as a PDF. So what you would do is, where your email address is, you would right click that and add your email address as a hyperlink, as well as your LinkedIn profile. and make sure that that is listed there and active in blue, so that when people receive that, they can actively click on that LinkedIn link and go directly to your profile. I see here that someone said in the chat, oh, Ethan said in the chat, too many of his college buddies still don't have LinkedIn. It's crazy. Yes, LinkedIn is very, very important. And it's becoming even more increasingly important as the days go on, especially within the pandemic, because it really does present you as a complete package. You have more room and more things to fill out on LinkedIn to give people a more well-rounded view of your personality and your skill sets than you can on a resume. So it's very important for you to have a LinkedIn profile.
All right, so we got a question in the Q&A. So a lot of summer internships that college students were looking forward to have been canceled. What can a student do during these times to help progress their career with such limited availability of options?
Great question. So while the internships may have been pulled off the table or temporarily suspended, still keep your skills sharp, still go after skill refining opportunities, such as things like if you're into coding, going on to General Assembly's website and taking some of their classes that they offer for free, going on to shared learning platforms and taking free classes is very important. It's stuff that you can add to your resume while still keeping your skills sharp for when those internship opportunities do open back up. Hopefully that's in the fall, but whenever that happens, you will have those skills that still remain sharp during this quote unquote downtime to keep you competitive with the rest of your peers in that talent pool.
All right, so shifting gears from just students to everyone. If you were seeking a job before COVID, should you continue looking?
Yes, you absolutely should continue looking, because at the end of the day, everyone has bills to pay. If you're currently unemployed and you are still seeking employment during this rough time, just know that you may be in a situation where you have to take a job that's more hourly based versus a career-based position. And unfortunately, that's just the way our economy is right now. If you do have a LinkedIn profile and you are on LinkedIn and you're active every day, there are several people that are sharing links and lists of companies that are currently hiring. For example, there are companies like Instacart, Amazon, CVS, FedEx, Allied Universal, even Ace Hardware, and some of well, a lot of the retailers that you see every day just driving down the street are hiring. And I know that that may not be an ideal situation. And you may have your eyes set on, being in a corporate position. But if you do not have a job and you are still seeking employment, that is a good place to start. And the good thing is that these positions are essential to our economy right now. So you may be in a situation where you may be making more per hour than you originally thought you would.
I think that's some good perspective. I also want to say, so this is something from talking to the friends of mine in HR, and I want to get your perspective on that. A lot of people are saying right now that you should, if you are looking, and like you mentioned, a lot of people are not hiring, you should be focusing on building relationships. How valuable is that to the process? And what are some ways, whether you're a student or you're mid-career or senior, that you can be building those relationships right now? So that way when things do pick up, they say, oh, I remember Ethan was someone who is awesome at communications and I should totally hit him up.
Right, absolutely. I agree. My perspective on that is 1000% true. Do your research. Look on meetup.com, because even though people are not physically meeting up, things are still happening via Zoom, like we're doing this today. People are also hosting things on WebEx, or just having like online chat meetups. It's very important for you to remember to network and put your best foot forward. This is the perfect time to work on your 30-second elevator pitch. Get all of that stuff refined and down to a science, so that you know automatically when you're going into these situations how to introduce yourself, how to put your best foot forward, and make an indelible mark on someone's memory, so that when things do rebound and everything kind of goes back to normal, or the new normal that we'll be dealing with, that that people are going to remember you. again, I hate to keep saying it, but networking on LinkedIn is very important. Every day that I log on to my LinkedIn, I have about 10 to 15 requests to connect. And it's not necessarily someone looking for work immediately. It's someone that's saying, hey, I want to stay connected to you because I saw who's in your network. Um, don't take that lightly, because with everything going on, everyone has a lot of downtime and people are spending more and more time on LinkedIn, more and more time online in general, connecting with others because we feel the need to do that because we're all stuck at home. So yes, it's definitely an invaluable thing to do is network. Ask for mentorship during this time. If there's someone that has been in your network for quite some time and you've never really gotten up the courage to ask them to mentor you, and they're in your field that you want to go into and they have the career that you hope to have in 5 or 6 years, ask them to mentor you. The worst thing that can happen is that they say no.
Okay, so you kind of touched on LinkedIn, but this question is asking, besides webinars, what are some other networking opportunities during these times that unemployed people can take advantage of?
There are groups on meetup.com. There are even Facebook groups. You can also leverage your own social media like Instagram to find these networking groups. I know there are groups here, for example, in Atlanta, Georgia, like Millennials of Atlanta, very professional based networking groups like Business Builders of Atlanta, which is the BNI networking group. If you've never heard of BNI before, it's great for people that are thinking of starting a small business or work in a position where their role would be a value add to the group. So just doing your due diligence and research to find networking groups within your local area, literally going to Google and saying networking group and my zip code, will yield some great results so that you can reach out and see about joining these with their virtual meetings. And they typically happen during the week before normal business hours start. So you still have time to get going for the day after you've had these great networking opportunities in the morning. But you never know who you're going to meet. You never know who is going to become that vital contact for you going forward when things do return back to normal.
So you're touching a lot on social media. How do you feel things like Instagram and Twitter play into that? Because I know people see you everywhere when you're online. So do you think that that's should be part of your job search strategy, making sure your Twitter is reflective and your Instagram or whatever your digital footprint is?
Yes, absolutely. Whether you like it or not, your Instagram is going to be viewed, and your Twitter and any other social media platform that you have will be viewed by a future employer. Whether they tell you they're looking at it or not, they are. So absolutely making sure that your personal brand is accurately reflected on that and those platforms will do you a huge service, because people really are able to get a more well-rounded view of who you are as a person as you continue to tailor those platforms and profiles to who you really are based on your resume, your LinkedIn profile. And I'm not saying don't show your personality, right? It doesn't have to be a super sanitized version of who you are because you're scared to put up a fun-loving picture. No, show your personality. But just remember, if you wouldn't say it or show it in front of your grandmother, then don't put it on there.
I think that's awesome advice. If your grandmother would be ashamed of it, it's probably something you shouldn't do. So so do you recommend any useful skills or programs that a person could learn or practice during these times to put on their future resume? So they're talking about things like maybe learning WordPress or Google Analytics or Hootsuite. I'm assuming this person is a marketer because these are all platforms marketers need to know.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, so what do you think about that?
Absolutely. I think you should, like I mentioned earlier, going on any type of Skillshare website or any website that allows you to take courses for free and get any type of certification. I know that LinkedIn allows you to take certification courses. I know that Google has some as well for people that are more aligned in marketing and IT-based roles. And there's several other companies that are out doing like 3 month for free subscriptions, or buy a subscription get one free. There's all types of deals going on. You just have to do your due diligence, but I highly recommend, if you are in the marketing space, seeking out those certifications like you mentioned, Hootsuite. Google Analytics, SEO, WordPress, things like that. And then for what you're working in as far as your industry is concerned, do your due diligence and research what those certifications would be, a value add to your resume and to your skill set, and go for them. This is the best time, honestly, because you're at home, you have the downtime, and because of the economic situation that the whole world is in right now, everyone is offering deals that are really easy on the pocket. So this is the time to take advantage of those opportunities.
Okay, so how do you approach introducing yourself to new connections on LinkedIn that you don't personally know? So you're cold open to these strangers.
Cold open. I would do
Hey,
go
Veronica,
through their profile and can you hear me?
yeah, give it, okay, there we go. Just had a
Okay.
lag for a second. All right, go ahead.
Sorry about that. Okay, we're back. Your question was, how do you cold open connection request, if you will, on LinkedIn to someone you've never met before face to face? And I think the best thing you can do is go to their profile, read it. Um, if there's a shared interest, you can mention that in the connection request. Hey, if you're an avid baseball fan, hey, I noticed you're a Braves fan. Love to connect with you to discuss that and your career in XYZ. Um, this is the time to be professionally vulnerable, as I say. So, reaching out to someone that you really admire within your industry, or reaching out to someone that you aspire to be or walk in their footsteps, be honest about that. Hey, you really inspire me by the way you take on XYZ ABC every day, and I'd love to connect with you. People appreciate it, and they're more willing to connect with you versus just sending a generic request like looking to connect to build my network. That's not going to leave a lasting impression.
All right, perfect. Thank you. So I think we're talking about skills, and this is something that I kind of wanted to throw in and get your thoughts on. For us, people who came up during the last recession in '08, I think a lot of us learned skills through side work. Where do you feel that that fits in this time right now, like getting your side work and your side hustles as ways to gain experience?
I agree wholeheartedly. I am part of that generation as well. And I will tell you that I have an HR company, but I've also written insurance policies and used to have an insurance license. And that came out of necessity during the last recession because everyone wasn't purchasing things. I was in retail at the time. Everyone wasn't out buying things and spending money, but you have to insure your cars and your houses. So going after something like a real estate license or any type of licensure that you consider a side hustle is a great idea. Also, if you have a certain skill for sewing or cooking or whatever that is, just know that there's someone out there who doesn't have the time or the bandwidth to do it. So offering your services for a fee is going to definitely give you some added revenue on the side, but also add skills to your resume that people may not necessarily expect you to have. That could be a value add when going back into the corporate world or securing that next corporate position if that's what you're looking to do. So absolutely, learning a new skill or challenging yourself to learn new things is very important, especially at a time like this, because you never know what can come of it. And again, like I mentioned, you never know what added stream of revenue you can create from having those skills.
All right, so what is the best way to work with recruiters specifically? And what are some traits of a good recruiter that you should reach out to or want to connect with? Because a lot of people have not had the best experiences.
Right, absolutely. Traits of a good recruiter are people that are honest with you from day one. If they kind of hurt your feelings about your resume, then that's a good recruiter. I'm just kidding. No, but you're looking for someone who is going to be honest with you with feedback. If you are interested in a job that they have posted on their profile, or you've seen them advertising, you submit their resume and they come back to you and say, hey, you're not a fit for this, but maybe we can keep in touch for something with this particular client I have that does hire people with your profile. Respect that. Don't just assume that they are out to get you, because they're not. A good recruiter is going to be honest with you from day one. They're also going to follow up with you and follow through with everything that they're working on with you. So you'd be surprised how many candidates tell me or my business partner, Dana, that they are surprised to hear back from us when we follow up with them, because they're just not used to that. And that is the number one pain point of people that are in the job seeking position, is that they don't hear back on their applications or their resume submittals. So like I mentioned, that's something that we really do stress about, and we follow up with everyone to make sure that they understand where they are in the process, what's going on with their application. The third thing that I think is a really good indicator of a true and good recruiter, an honest recruiter, is someone who is willing to coach you through the process. So there are times when a job description will come out from a certain company and you may be gung-ho and interested about it, but you may only have 60% of the required skills. A good recruiter will sit with you, spend time with you and say, okay, well, I'm looking at your resume. You have this skill, but I think you have some of these skills, but your resume doesn't really adequately reflect that. So let's take the time to brush up your resume so that your profile is actually matching what's listed under these requirements, so you have a better chance of getting a call back. And I really feel like those three things are a good indicator of the type of recruiter that you want to reach out to. And to be honest with you, the recruiters that present themselves on LinkedIn as someone who is going to connect with everyone, someone who just literally every day you see 3 to 4 job postings going out, they may be a good connection for you if you want to see volume of positions. But if you're really looking for someone who's going to treat you with kid gloves, look for someone who's more of a boutique recruiter, or someone who has senior level experience, because those are the people that have kind of run the gamut on recruiting in various industries, people that have, can you hear me? Okay. Okay. People that really have their ear to the ground within the HR industry and really can give you a good perspective on what's happening within job markets as well.
All right. So should people be prepared to move towards working from home more often due to this pandemic?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you have not yet set up a home office or some corner of your home where you can be productive on a daily basis as it relates to work, you should definitely look to do that now. I think a lot of employers have learned how easy it is to have an efficient workforce from home because of the need to have that during this time. And so out of necessity, obviously, came people's ability to work from home and fulfill the functionalities of their job on a daily basis from home. And I think that this has been a huge learning experience for a lot of employers, corporate and otherwise, who initially felt like people were not going to be productive from home. And now they're really seeing that they can be. And so, yes, everyone should definitely pivot their train of thought to really understand that you can work from home, you can be productive, and there's certain ways that you can make sure you're operating at peak efficiency during this time and going forward when you are working from home.
All right. Should I only attend webinars with high profile speakers or check out the more under the radar speakers as well? What are the advantage of going to maybe less popular or less well-known speakers webinars?
The first thing I would say about going to webinars with less known speakers is that you don't know what type of information you're going to glean from those experiences, and you never know who you'll connect with. So in situations like that, if it's a lesser known speaker, you may have the opportunity to interact with them more, right? Because the crowd may be smaller. So you may be able to pick their brain during the conversation of the webinar. You may be able to leave a memorable impression on them and then have them follow up with you later via LinkedIn or whatever networking platform you choose to use, and continue to connect with that person as part of your professional network going forward. So I would say it's good to have a good mix of the two. right? Going to webinars with major speakers because you can always take notes and take information away, but then also attending webinars with lesser known speakers because you never are too sure of what information you're going to take away from that person and also who you're going to meet in those rooms or even the person themselves.
So then what are some of the best soft skills to have as you're out here job hunting?
Well, communication is key. Ability to present yourself professionally and having wonderful diction and speech. Also, the ability to collaborate willingly with others, that is super important, especially when you're working from home. Having the initiative to reach out to your teammates and say, hey, I need help with this, or can we have, a sidebar conversation after this WebEx or Zoom call because I really want to pick your brain on how to better attack this and kind of running up against the wall here. Things like that are things that employers are looking for, especially right now when hiring, and they're going to continue to look for that once this pandemic is over. And they do go back to work in the office because that's a skill that you can take anywhere. You'll use in any type of environment, whether you're working in corporate, startup, retail, it doesn't matter what environment you're working in, being able to collaborate with others is very, very essential. And the other thing is being honest. Being honest about your stress level, being honest about how much work you can actually take on a daily basis, being honest about your level of productivity. And some people see that as being too vulnerable and being too open with their boss, but trust me, it goes a long way, because if someone is looking to pile work on you and you're not able to handle it, but being honest about that from day one, it allows your boss to understand if they need to restructure your team, if they need to ask someone to collaborate with you from day one and share the responsibility of the work. And all of that is for the greater good of the company and the team morale as well.
All right, thank you. I think you've shared so much, like it's so many gems, so much knowledge. When it comes to the recruiting side of things, when it comes to HR and working from home, what are like three of the major things you would tell someone, like the big takeaways around job search? Because I think job searching during a downturn and searching for a job in general is just daunting. So what are the three things you would tell someone who's looking for a job right now? Like the big things.
The big things: make sure that the skills you have listed on your resume are your true skills and that you are able to speak to them, give examples, and don't list it if you're not qualified to do it, right? Make sure that that resume matches your LinkedIn profile 100%. And then the third thing I would say is make sure that you tailor that resume every time you apply for a job. Those are my top three.
So that's every time you apply for a job, like
Every time.
every time.
Every time. Even if it's the same exact job description from company X to company Y, tailor that resume, because there's going to be something in that job description that is different. And trust me, that will make the world of difference between you getting a call back and not.
Awesome. So I'll see if we have any more burning desire questions. And after that, we can kind of let you go. So I see Ethan made a note about universities making online courses free. And that some of his friends are starting side hustles right now. It's a good time to chase your dreams.
It is. You never know. I have friends that are former chefs as well that do hold corporate jobs, but they ended up being furloughed. And so they've started back doing chef work, and they're actually doing meal prep and meal delivery during this time, dropping things off on the doorstep and accepting virtual payments, because that is how they're supplementing their income. So yes, chase your dreams, go after it.
Awesome. And I think honestly, that's the best note to kind of end this on. Chase your dreams, go after it, and never underestimate the power of a side hustle. All right. So thank you so much again for doing this. Veronica will be available in our Slack community if you want to kind of reach out to her one-on-one and have a conversation with her. And other than that, I'll let everybody get back to work, you know? So thank you.
For having me.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.